Alrighty, welcome back to Inside Gazealous Studio. This is the story of how I made the Moonlight Trio costumes. If you missed the previous blog, please go back and watch it so you have an understanding of where this act came from. I had my sketch and I gave my instructions to Felix to make the crowns. So his instructions were to make two of these, two wire pieces that could fit over a bun up here that were identical. And then in the future, I would want a third one to do the trio. And his other instruction was it had to have a removable piece. So this little spring here is a really cool engineering feat that he designed to allow a feather boa to be removed from this hat. So I mean, there's still work to be done on this hat, but as far as design. But the hat was worn just like this for the first show. So it literally had this weird little metal knob sticking at the top. So he had his project and I had mine. So I knew I had the G's already done. They just had to be fit to the girls. And then I needed to make bras. And I already made my own bra. I was like, okay, well, this is pretty much is one size fits all cup, except for the only difference is the elastic. So this one, actually, I made the elastic too big. She had to tighten it. Poor baby. She's still skinny. And so I made the bras, and they were easy. It's just literally two pieces of fabric sewn in a triangle with rhinestones on the front. So it's like super easy. That's the bra part. And so Felix had to help with the embellishment because he's actually quite skilled at creating undiscernible to the untrained eye patterns, repeating patterns. So this is a scatter pattern, and I asked for his help to make sure that it looked pretty random. So he helped with glue dots and I stuck the rhinestones. Team effort. And then we made the body chains. This is my favorite part about making Showgirl costumes is the body chains. I just love designing things that drape around the female form. So the body chain consists of this fabric choker that has rhinestone chain sewn to it. Like this. And I wanted him to create a shape that mimicked the earrings that we wore. Actually, the earring, this is an earring right here dangling. So I wanted him to create a shape that mimicked that shape using the body chain pieces, structure thing. And so he created this really cool paisley, and was cool that he did identical but reverse. So one the other one is a mirror. So this one goes this way, the other one goes the other way. And then we hung the chain. We had to do that measurement, make sure it fit right. And then the hard part for me, so we got this beautiful body chain. It's beautiful on its own, but I was like, it's missing something. I need something. So we added the feather strips. And the feather strips were inspired by a design that Bob Mackie did for the Red Fan Boys in Jubilee. So it's basically just a long strip of fabric with a feather attached to the end. And there are 5 of them of varying lengths. They're all different lengths so that they create a nice little bushel of feathers. So I made 2 of these. I actually made 2 for fair-skinned girls. Me and my sister were the first to do this act. And then when I produced the trio and hired Tiffany, I was like, okay, time to make a whole nother costume. And I had 3 weeks to do that. So I made the bra, the G, her G-string, and the choker. All I had to do was make the choker, take it off of the other fair-skinned one, and then it was a whole new choker for a dark-skinned girl. So that was the process of making this for a dark-skinned girl. So that was a lot of fun for me. So the skirts took a little bit more engineering, in the first video, I showed how the inspiration, and I had no freaking clue how to make that design. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna take a long skirt pattern and just keep just cutting away from it. And so basically it is this shape. I don't know if you can see. So it's like a W shape. This is the back. This hooks to the G-string in the back. And these parts come around the front, or come around the hip and hook to the front. So I had to fit these and find out, okay, so where does this fall on you when we hook it? Is it dragging on the floor? And so, yeah, so here's, it hooks to the G-string. And so there, it shows the butt, nice like that. So yeah, and I used this piece right here from one of the G-strings that I wasn't using anymore. I just cut parts, the little, see, it's the exact same piece. I just cut this extra part off. And that's it. I was like, okay, it looks like a whole different piece. So separately, it still looks pretty-ish. Not that, I mean, you could hook it probably to anything else. And it still has this nice, pretty shape. But it masks, you know, this, the exact same shape. So that, I think that was just a fun little cool puzzle piece that I created. And then I added body chain to the skirts too. And I believe Bob Mackey's skirts had 2 or 3. And these actually are fairly hefty. They're not as heavy as the ones in Jubilee. The ones in Jubilee were set stones, so they had the metal settings and rhinestones. This only has just a small bit of rhinestoning on the back. But I think they're stunning anyway. They have a beautiful look. They just make the wearer look long and lean. Just lovely. It's a beautiful design. Let's talk about the bracelets real quick. I know I talked a little bit about them in the bow videos, but I took the hair clip piece and I created a bracelet basically. I don't know how I did this. I don't know how I figured it out, but it's a bracelet that has 3 chains, and that was inspired by the Bob Mackie finale bracelets. So back to the crown. This was the most difficult part of this entire costume because I hadn't ever made a crown before. I didn't have any welding experience. I was just like, I'm just going to try this. And so where it came from was that my friend Marius, who was the head of the feather department at Jubilee, he said, I said, I don't have the skills to weld. And he said, you don't need to. You know, if your boyfriend can bend metal and do all that stuff, then just create the shapes and wrap it with twill and cover it with rhinestones. That's what people are doing these days. And I was like, so that's what this is about. It's basically a wire sculpture wrapped with twill tape. And we chose white for this one because of the moonlight theme. And it's all sewn together. But it's pretty freaking solid. It's 3 pieces. Sorry, I had to count. So this bottom part is 1 piece, 1 long wire. And then this little step thing, that's another wire. And then this is separate. And maybe it's not separate. Maybe it's the same wire. And then, of course, this is separate. That's sewn on, this little springy thing. So I was like, well, it turned out better than I ever thought it could. And I was like, oh, this is freaking perfect. It's exactly what I asked for. So I finished it. I wrapped it in twill. I added the horsehair. And the horsehair is there to pin into. So if you've never been in a Showgirl show or you don't know how they keep those things on their head, that's how they pin them into their heads. And girls didn't have as many costume malfunctions as you see like on burlesque stages. I've seen them on professional stages too. I saw a ballet performed once, one of my favorite ballet companies here in Denver, and the girl was losing her wig, and I couldn't enjoy the performance because I was so worried she was going to lose her fucking wig. And it was this like Bob, and it wouldn't have like ruined the number, but the wig was a color. So it wasn't like it was normal hair color. It would have been like this like blue, I think it was blue thing laying on the stage. And then her dancing, it just would have ruined the whole thing for me. It ruined the thing for me. The fact that I know she didn't know how to keep her damn wig on. And that pissed me off. So anyway, that's why I put horsehair on all my crowns that are like this. This can sit on my head for an extended period of time without, but when you're dancing around, it's gonna come off. So that's why there's a comb, and that's why there's horsehair. And so now I'm going to show you this wire piece. I wanted it, like I said, I wanted it to transform just like we did. And so I had him engineer a piece that could be removed. And so now this is the principal crown, not as it was performed in. I don't think I can take it off. So the spring is, the spring is still there, and that little metal thing is hidden by this beautiful sparkle condom and jewel and some feathers. But this now has 3 feathers on it, and it has the same 3 from all 3 hats. So I decided to combine all 3 into one. That's what happened. That's what happened to this hat. But this was the principal one was slightly shorter and had a different front. But when you look at them together, like they look a little different, they still go together. They're still family, right? So that was the whole idea, was to transform from bare to feathery and amazing. And there are different iterations of this one as well. I used longer boas before, and it really pulled the weight of the hat. It was very uncomfortable to wear, and it kept falling off. So not the crown. The crown stayed on. The apparatus with the feathers kept coming off, and white feathers laying on the ground, not great. But that's kind of the Moonlight costumes. So 3 different looks: the fan duet with the skirt, the solo, and then the trio. And the trio was very fun and playful and cutesy. So that's why we got the butt flap. We got the butt flap skirt. That was the process of taking nude Showgirl G's and turning them into 3 different looks. If you have any questions, please pop them below and let me know what you thought. Next week, we talk about all the stats, how much these pieces weigh, how much they cost to make, all that stuff. So if you're interested in all those numbers like I am, come back next week and watch the final part of the Moonlight Frolic Trio costumes. Bye. Thanks for watching today. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about me, you can head to my website. The link is in the description. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss a thing.